Mpumalanga has 12 power stations, and most of the coal mines in the country are also in Mpumalanga.
When you're entering Witbank, you can see there's a dark cloud.
Mostly it's from the power plants. Secondly, it's from the blasting that takes place.
Take coal out of South Africa and our economy in place.
One of the key challenges is century of economic development based on coal is concentrated in 2 municipalities. That provides an opportunity for action because we know where to act, but that also provides a crucial challenge.
Most of the towns developed because of the mines and because of the power stations. You get rid of the mines, you get rid of the power stations, you kill towns. And the majority of people in this province will be without jobs.
Because the entirety of the economy of those municipalities is dependent on coal.
Coal is food. Coal is life.
Especially in Mpumalanga, Emalahleni, it's life.
It's all I know. So without the coal, there's no jobs.
My lungs are getting blocked because of the dust.
A hidden killer.
A life full of sickness. It's not life.
And the worst part is that the mines are taking the water from the people.
Because that water is contaminated.
It's years we have been talking about this thing.
But we are not being listened.
So it's a double-edged sword. It's life and death.
We sound as if we want to make people choose between your health and earning an income. But I've been reading the news this morning and then they say Eskom is like the biggest sulfur polluter in the world.
The season itself now is gone haywire. You get winter rain, you get cold in summer. So,
My daughter was saying to me the other day, you know, this summer it's a scam. I have never seen such a summer. It is a scam because most of the time it's summer, but it's so cold.
If you connect all the stories, it becomes easy for you to link with what is happening.
The Paris Agreement talks about trying to limit the warming of the globe to 1.5 degrees, but you have to multiply it by 2 to look at the impacts in southern Africa. So from a South African perspective, we are very vulnerable, not only to the changes in the climate, but also to our trade partners transitioning as well.
Sayfikile. And if everything from South Africa will be boycotted, if we don't comply, then we are dead.
Climate change is not just an environmental issue. It's never been, right? It's a social issue. It's a political issue. So with all of those elements coalescing, it's very, very clear that that the just transition is a non-negotiable for the country.
The debate is not to transition to a low-carbon economy or not. That's not the debate here. We have to transition, else we have a big, big problem. We are in trouble as a species, as society. The question is, do we transition in a just or in an unjust way? As we stand, there's no agreement on what we mean by just transition.
There is a real reason for us to move from where we are to a just transition. We understand that. But I'm from the trade unions. Wherever I am, I will resist when it comes to job losses. I would say no.
We're talking about 150,000 direct jobs and an estimated 650,000 indirect jobs.
Unions and business have to work together, otherwise we all lose.
And some people understand that as just transition. Others, more ambitious, see it as a platform to transform society.
We see it as better health services, better transport. We see it as a basic income grant.
Just transition is about us changing the way we live, our lifestyles. It is about us reducing the high rate of consumerism.
We would miss a massive opportunity if we don't pursue that transformative agenda. That means participatory justice, making sure that the process itself is inclusive. And then it's about distributive justice. Whoever loses their job, loses their livelihood as the result of the transition should have an alternative. And it is also about restorative justice. Can we improve access to services? Can we improve the direct environment of people in terms of air, water, land? Can we have a better economy for all? Can we address those historical inequalities?
The mines are moving in the center of the community. They're blasting each and every day.
We are talking about the just transition, but why are still these licenses being given out? If we are serious about moving from coal to clean energy.
As organs of state, we need to talk in one voice.
No one must be left behind.
When the president speaks, the minister should not contradict him.
So that's where I think the central government is lacking. Now I'm speaking like as an employee of local government. How are we going to do it? It is not clear how it's going to be done.
Often people ask me, what's the most difficult thing you think with the just energy transition? It's not technology, it's mindsets. Having people's mindsets change is the most difficult part, I think.
Most big companies have what they call a CSI budget, which they have to spend. And that has to be spent on the communities that are around the mines. But I think if mining companies were more ethical, I think most companies could do a lot more.
So I think corporations, some of them willingly, but some of them are being forced by their shareholders and the investors to change that mindset.
We can move away from the coal, but what are you going to replace it with for us?
Until we create those new jobs, whoever is set to lose is going to resist the transition.
Before they bring something, they must bring skill first. They can't just bring something and say, no, we need artisans like this and this and this without any trainings.
Over the next 10 years, 10 billion is going to be spent in the province of Mpumalanga on your just transition.
We need to start creating those jobs to show that, yes, there are some alternatives. This could be in energy, this could be in manufacturing, in agriculture, in tourism.
The best thing is to focus on alternatives, because these alternatives are the ones that are going to actually deliver us the future.
In order for us to make meaningful shift, we need workers and community people to be involved. They haven't been included in decision making.
Because now we are talking of a just transition, a fair change. What will be fair if we are not involved as communities? Because at the end of the day, those policies bind us.
If any organization come to us as communities, we must discuss the solutions.
Stop the talk shops.
We know all of us the problems. We don't need to discuss the problems anymore.
We're really pushing on getting in there, working with the communities and starting these projects, because we've been talking for long enough now.
We know what needs to be done. The question is, do we have the political will to do it? And are the interests of all aligned?
At the end of the day, there won't be any jobs in a dead planet.
The environment has no boundary. So we need to watch that space and make sure that whatever we do is for the betterment of our community. Thank you.